Hey everyone, welcome to today's gathering of soul flames. Mhm. Um, Today I'd like to talk about endurance in the face of hardship. And the more my soul stream is reconnecting with the lineage of Kabir Das, who was actually the most revered poet in India. And this is also the lineage of my most immediate teacher, Mindo, um, Sat Mindo Das, or Dev, sorry, Dev. Um, Reconnecting to this beautiful stream of the divine sound and light current, which some traditions call it the Shabd, the Satnam. And interestingly, Kabir, even present on Indian stamps, as my teacher noted, he he's not well known. That well known as being the primary Sadguru. Yeah, Sadguru just means the real guru who can, the highest guru who can lead you back to your origin. And he was revered, as I said before, as a poet, but he actually was, his lineage was actually the inspiration for many lineages, including the Gnostic traditions in Europe and the Sufi traditions. So this is one of the oldest root traditions, even earlier than the Vedic tradition. So today I'd like to point back, as every time I do, to the loving devotion to the formless divine power that dwells within us all. So the loving devotion is is done on a moment-to-moment basis. It's not, I mean, you can do ceremonies and rituals, as some traditions abound in that, but it is not necessary. I find that this loving devotion to the formless divine power that resides within all of us is actually exemplary when it's done from a moment to moment basis. It is very important that you have that reverence towards life. And even though uh, sometimes we would fall, but despite the fact, we just continue having that basic attitude of divine reverence, divine devotion. Yes, Kabir talks about three elements, which is very much um, also a Vedic teaching, that he uses Gyan Yoga, which is the study of scriptures. The second would be Karma Yoga, which is that you just serve selflessly without actually asking uh, for the fruits of your work, or expecting anything. Yeah, that's pretty unknown in the West. This notion of you just serve for the sake of serving, and you're not also boasting your ego or boosting it through um, saying, "Oh, I'm such a good person because I'm serving," because the who, the I, or the self who is serving is absolutely merged in the divine, and it's not serving through a person. So that's karma yoga. Yes. Yoga doesn't mean you go to a yoga class and you do asanas. Um, it's a word. It's a way of living. It's an attitude towards life. And then finally, also, obviously, you know from the Sufi tradition, is that Kabir also has been the the Sadguru, the first Sadguru of this for the Sufis, and who initiated Kabir initiated Guru Nanak, and Nanak is revered by the Sufis as their first Guruji, their leader. It's a beautiful tradition. And, you know, the Sufis do not talk about anything else but the beloved. And they have this attitude of the bhaktis, the bhakti yoga, which is just divine devotion. And the Sufis don't actually do it through rituals. They're just constantly in devotion through their heart um, towards this beloved, the one beloved God, and it's formless. Okay, so you see then the link, because Kabir had a great impact on also the Muslim tradition, who is always doing bhakti as a nirguna bhakti, which is you're not having like a murti or a representation of the divine in any form. That's nirguna, which means it doesn't have any characteristics and it cannot be shown in a form. Yes. So the three elements of bhakti, which is for me, it's this loving devotion to the formless divine power that dwells within us all, and that also teaches us that no matter what, that divine flame is within everything and everyone, even inanimate objects. And then, you know, I've noted the book Anurag Sagar, which is The Ocean of Love, and that is a compilation of Kabir's teachings. And that would be a form of Gyan Yoga, which is the studying of scriptures, which are pointers how to actually undo this web of Maya, of illusion. And of course, it is an old text, and it is actually gearing you towards, I mean, we are in the midst of Kali Yuga, which means the height of immersion into the mirage of Maya. And it's not necessarily bad, it's just a training, it's training for us. But you know, sometimes when you refer to spiritual texts, they are pointing to some tenets which you can then use in your life in order to be less identified, less clutching, less focused on, because it's a very, very important what we are focusing on. And just ponder for a second, how much of your life is completely self-centered? This ego identity is moving through life, moving through the minutes, the seconds, the hours, the days, completely self-centered. I am hungry. I need to go to work. I am making the money. I am raising the children. I am meeting the friends. I am teaching. Just notice. And slowly, slowly, our inquiry and work here is to reconnect to that immediate. It's not like it's going to be done in the future. You're just simply reconnecting to this ever existing, formless divine power that is within us all, which you might call the beloved. It's in your heart. It's everywhere, but you can tap into that formless divine power. It doesn't have any form. And I'm going to read you some of the deeper characteristics. And of course, it's always written in a paradoxical manner. Also, question yourself, how comfortable are you with paradox? Because this teaching is already slowly gearing us towards non-duality. And paradox is being fine with the opposition in order to move beyond the opposition. So you are in the form of inner experience. We're talking about the formless divine power. And Kabir says this, you are in the form of inner experience and you are immutable. You're in the form of knowledge and the giver of liberation. You're in the form of wisdom and you are imperishable. You're the ocean of bliss. You're immortal. Heartfelt salutations to you. You're free of troubles of the body and mind. You're without beginning. You are immanent, indestructible, blissful, the embodiment of wisdom, the repository of the perfect knowledge, an ocean of compassion, the protector of all, and the remover of their suffering. Heartfelt salutations to you. You're free of mental distractions. You're the source of happiness, and your power is the creator of all. You're the mind of compassion, the giver of light and eternal joy, and the destroyer of ignorance. Heartfelt salutations to you. So this is an example of bhakti. And of course, Kabir points us to, and the Vedas do too, but actually Kabir leads us beyond uh, the realm of Kal Niranjan or Lord Kal. The world is full of Maya or illusion and attachment. But no one appears to be concerned about the trap of Maya. And the attachment is very strong. Only the devotee, he who has discriminative power, can cut himself free and take the name of God as the boat across the worldly ocean. Only then can one cross to the other shore of this world. Well, in other words, when he talks about the name of God, the Sat Nam, I mean, it does have a sound, but it is for us, mostly it's an imperceptible sound. But this is also the connection with the divine light and sound current. And it is the recognition of the formless divine power that dwells within you. It's not outside of you. Nobody can give it to you. Nobody can take it away from you. Even if you are in your most lost, desolate place, you're still one with the formless divine power. And literally, it's manifesting as a current from above, and it's sustaining your body avatar. And once you tune to it, It's rewiring everything in your existence. It is actually this immaculate power that is the answer to all of your longing, because the longing in your heart, whether it be a longing for a partner, a longing for this or that, this is the deepest longing, to know the truth of who you truly are. And that is the sound, the divine sound and light current. And Kabir says that the name of the divine for him, I mean, it has many forms, but one of them is Ram. But it can also just be a silent reconnection with the shabd, with that sound and light current. And yes, I'd like to again refer back to the first um, mental note today about the endurance in the face of hardship. And that's one of the tenets that Kabir talks about, that this in this realm of Kal Niranjan, who is the father of Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma. This is a loka that it's closed upon itself. And then you do bhakti and rituals, and you venerate, Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma, and then you can be endowed with worldly pleasures. Yes. Or you can be endowed to, step into and see the light of Brahm. Okay. And these are all levels in divine cosmology. But Kabir is actually the Ur Sadguru, who is leading you beyond that realm of the Trimurti, of the three gods. Yes. And again, if you want to refer back to a Gnostic European tradition, then Kal Niranjan can be equated with the demiurge. And again, the teachings are not dualistic, and it's not something bad as opposed to, beyond the demiurge is something good. But it is slowly a higher consciousness embodiment past this realm. And it depends on your soul's calling, where you want to be and where you want to, what playground you want to play in. And again, this endurance in the face of hardship, that is such an essential precept of your attitude in this life, is that no matter how hard it is or how hard it gets, it is a training for the soul to constantly remember the divine sound and light current leading to the impersonal within you, no matter what is happening in the Maya, in the illusion. And when you truly stand in that power within you, you will see instant miracles happen. I am talking from experience. This ego identity in the past would recoil, hide, and bemoan. And I'm not saying that Esther stopped bemoaning the plight she's experiencing, so she's not completely done with that. But I've noticed that when I can reconnect with the truth of who I am, and there is this guidance, it is a very strong guidance of, you're not in this moment, it is hard, but you're not giving power to the hardship, and the ego doesn't start bleeding into that pool of how sorry I am for myself, but I just do what I'm meant to do. I am just completing what I need to complete in that moment. And then there is an instant crack and a transcendence of that state. And no matter, yes, the hardship is going on, it's playing out, the momentum is playing out, but there is a beautiful centeredness that is transmuting that dense experience of the body mind mechanism. Yes. And that's the only way to transcend the mirage, whereby you get to the point, and that's non duality, that no matter what is happening, your ego personality, because it is merged more and more into the truth of the soul, it doesn't have a preference that I want this to be this way as opposed to that way. And that's the only power you have. And you know what the ego will say? Oh, but that's a disempowered attitude. No, that's the only true empowerment, where you are standing and enduring in the face of hardship. I mean, look at, the great teacher Yeshua's life. Look at the life of Sakyamuni Buddha, the first one. He was killed, yeah, by his greatest disciple. It's not about seeking the comforts of your ego. But it's also not just about suffering. But I'm pointing to that realm where you're always going to be granted beautiful boons of God, beautiful experiences in this realm of duality. But you'll also be granted hardships. But if you're truly seeking liberation and soul liberation, you cannot stand and prefer one over the other, because it's all a beautiful, what would we call it? A machination of your soul that had brought about these teachings for you very specifically, so that you can move and evolve. Again, I am not pointing to masochism, but there is this fierceness that is developed when you stand enduring in the face of hardship. And from that position, you start developing the attitude of karma yoga, which means that you are serving. You're just serving as God is coming through you, because you are that beautiful formless power. And you're attuning to that truth, and you're not leaking into the vulnerability of the ego self. Because honestly, if you are seeking spirituality just for the sake of making your life easier, I would propose to you to follow traditions of maybe new age movements. And once you also try that, you will notice that everything and anything that is not the truth, because it's only one truth. I'm not talking about opinions here, but the truth is truth. And if when it's embodied, you know it. There's no questioning or doubt. So when you experience even the love and light, plant medicine, reality of today's level of seeking, you will notice that something's missing. Something is not abiding. Something is still questioned. Essentially, the personality is not transformed. It is so important to consider. Okay. Again, the endurance in the face of hardship is one of your fastest ways to truly attune to the helping hands of God. But you have to be attuned in that moment to your selflessness. That yes, this is the reality of what's going on, but still you're strong to stay in the light of the divine sound and light current, standing in that power. And that's the only way to transcend, only way to see an enormous shift of timelines instantaneously. And even though the narrative of the limited self is going to be, oh, poor me, you see how much, what's going on. And so that's going to be playing in the foreground. But there's this invisible hand, a power that is guiding you. And there is absolutely no doubt about that. So that's what I wanted to tell you. And I'm honestly talking about from experience. I don't think it's viable to teach without your own personal embodiment and experience. Okay, so let's go into the divine sound and light current. And I pray that each one of us be attuned to that which is happening moment to moment. So you can actually draw an invisible white kind of line current coming from your crown down. Even the Vaishnavas, the Krishna precepts have this kind of current drawn here up, and that is the Shabd, actually. The Krishna tradition, yes, it's right here. And it's really like I experienced it. It's almost like there's this white tube coming down through the pranic channel, but it's not energy anymore. It's much more subtle. And it's coming through down in the center of the body, and it's sustaining the body beautifully in its divine formless power. Okay, so let's try that. And today we're going to do something really simple. The Sufis actually have practices that are so simple, but do not mistake that for easy. Because once something is so simple, it's trying you to move into the nuanciation of frequency. Okay, so let's do that. So automatically, when you plug into the divine sound and light current, because in cosmology, everything was created by Shabd, the divine sound current first. This universe, the limited one, is created by the Omkar, the sound Om. But then the Om also sounds very different in higher realms. Okay. So just drop all the words because you need to know the one truth through your own connection. As we connect our heart flames from all around the world, and you can visualize this immense pillar of light, Shabd, Satnam, Sachkhand. We have been given as humanity the tools of transcendence so that we do not have to whirl in the lower lokas of mirage, still split by the miracles of duality, which blind you to that which is the true abode of the soul. And you have to all consider how open you are and what playgrounds you choose. And consider as we are slowly attuning to the divine Shabd, a beautiful stream that is the source where dissolution happens, dissolving all craving, dissolving all seeds of karma, dissolving all misled craving. And it's attuning you to the sattva, the light, the truth, that which is the divine within you. Consider this tenet. Religions are just manifestations of the duality that is played out in the collective consciousness of humanity, where we place the ultimate force outside of ourselves. So we create the seeker, that which is seeked. We create institutions that deal us forgiveness. We perform rituals serving an outside power. But feel this immensely powerful Shabd. It is the imperceptible sound and light current. Babaji would call it the lightless light because it's much finer than the perceptible light. And when we hear the flute of Krishna, the flute is playing the divine Shabd. The wisdom that the Essenes talk about. And Yeshua is all referring to this formless power, wisdom, and love that is sustaining your body. And the higher you're available to climb on this level, on this ladder of the divine sound and light current, it's literally a ladder. The more availability you have of your heart, the more openness you have to leave your ego identity behind, the more open you are to stop playing with the outside phenomena, with fervent, this fervor, taking them for the only reality. You start attuning to this immediate divinity in your own heart. It is as real as your hand, as real as this experience of your so-called life. But life is God. And life can be experienced from the center or from the circumference. So see, can you be honest and feel how ready are you to be called back, like the prodigal son moves out from the center into the circumference, into the mirage of the world. And his path leads nowhere else but back to the center. Just feel how there is this immense pull of your heart, which is the perpetuum mobile, this never ceasing inner machinery, divine machinery, that is calling you back into the divine sound and light current. And you will see from this position, this hurricane of love, that all of your longing, all of your desires is but one desire. How does that feel like? That one desire, which is the drop merging with the ocean, the drop of love merging with the ocean of love. But then, at that moment, as Kabir says, the drop realizes that the ocean was within it all along. Hearing the divine love song of the beloved. First, the lover doesn't hear, feels like it's lost in this realm of separation. And the more we bow down to the purity inside our hearts, to the Sadguru inside our hearts, we start hearing the song of the beloved. And believe me, there's no other love affair. This is the only one. Because even a manifestation of a divine other, a partner, is just reminding you of the myriad ways you need to attune and learn to merge into the ocean of love. And just notice when you connect within your sacred heart. These words are direct transmissions of your heart's calling. All doubt disappears. Notice what happens to the moment-to-moment arising desires in this space. They just subside like a headache, suddenly subside. And when there's nothing to seek and nowhere to go and nothing to do, it's there, formless. It's formless and more real than anything you might physically experience. Connect to this divine pillar of light, the divine light and sound current. The light cannot exist without the sound. The light is just more saturated into the form of light. And we are attuning all of ourselves and subatomic particles to this ladder, the proverbial ladder of the divine sound and light current. Depending on what you can attune to, depending on your tradition, but if you feel open to use the bija, the root sound of Ram. It is a reverberation of the Satlok, the divine realm, the abode of your soul. Repeat the sound Ram as you're experiencing this light current, so that you're introducing the sound of Ram. And you're not saying it out loud, but you're just actually experiencing this sound blessing you as it's pouring down into your pranic channel. Ram, Ram, Ram. And this bija mantra is purifying your heart, purifying your being, your soul, purifying all of the commotion and chaos in your life. And experience it as if you were hearing it coming from the formless, placeless, timeless. And notice how this is healing you. As I'm speaking, I'm still hearing the initiatory sound of Ram. It's not connected to any God. It's not connected to anything that you're giving concept or form to. It is just like the sunlight. It blesses you, it gives light, it gives life, it blesses us. With divine power. And just imagine that white, pearlescent light just from your crown, drawn up down to your nose. And remind yourself of the initiation of the divine sound and light current. The abode of your soul is your third eye. When you initiate, opening your third eye, as Yeshua said, when your eyes be one, you will be filled with light. And that is when the soul light starts attuning to the divine sound and light current. Program it because you're a divine creator. First of all, program it so that your actions be in alignment with God's will, so that you are of service in all ways. Program that the right discernment and guidance be available to you because it is, so that you're not meandering in the cul-de-sac of duality. Oh, is it this way? Is it right? Or is it left? Is it up or down? No. Your guidance is embodied knowing. It is so firm. And all you need to have is faith, big as the mustard seed. Because the mustard seed is the frequency of your God, divine self. That is the longing for the divine truth. And the mustard seed grows into this immense ocean of love. This is a form of bhakti. Singing your praise to the formless divine power within you by remembering to see the divine in everyone and serve and take responsibility, even for those who cannot take responsibility for themselves. Neem Karoli Baba told us that if you truly felt the divine love in your heart, all of it, you couldn't endure it. It's so powerful. It's so transmutational. It explodes all form, all mirage, all thought, all concept. And most of all, it annihilates the idea of your ego self, the name that you've been given, the experiences that you've experienced, that which you identify with. All of it is just washed away. In the divine light and sound current. Form will always be subject to duality, life and death, rising and falling. But that which is the ultimate reality is not subject to change. And once you tap into that divine light and sound current, you tap into the stream of your soul through your third eye, and allow your life to be transformed. And say, thy will be done. You're attuning to the light of your soul. Let us pray to embody the light of our soul. As we transmute all densities, all karmas, so that we can reunite with the ocean of love, formless, all forgiving, all wise and powerful, ever nourishing, divine love. Consider this. All this talk of self-love is in vain unless you truly attune yourself to this divine love in the form of your supreme self, which is the divine sound and light current. You can't feign love from the ego, from duality, from separateness. There is no such thing. Please consider. Placing your attention and focus to the origin of your soul. So it is.